In the spirit of TI, now that it has just freshly ended, I've decided to make a TI tier list. I'm going to be going over my top 5 internationals, and yes, it's going to be a little bit biased, but here it goes. So coming in at number 5 is Ti7. Now this was the first TI where Liquid made their lower bracket run, and now there's been a second, right, with Ti9, but Liquid's story in this TI was absolutely fantastic. They get eliminated very early, but managed to keep their head in the game and run it all the way back to the grand finals, where they absolutely destroy Newbie in the grand finals. And this is why I'm putting it at the number 5 slot, because I think it was a really great story, and I'm a huge fan of that Liquid story, and that team in general, Rip Matumba, man. But I'm putting it there at number 5 because I felt like this was a underwhelming grand finals. Now, were there great plays? Yes, that great fight around the Roshan pit when they run in for the DD, they force staff the Jug towards it. He lives on a sliver HP, gets his Omni Slash off, and absolutely wipes them. Yeah, like, those parts are amazing. By no means am I discrediting Liquid's grand final run. It was great 3-0, but you know, 3-0s sometimes don't feel the best. Now, there's also some other great clips coming in from Ti7. One in particular that I remember was Ame's AM Rampage. I felt like this was the first point where I started to really recognize Ame as one of the top tier carries, but in this particular clip, his Magnus hits a huge RP after Oracle got a clutch save on the DP, and coming off that RP, AM manages to get a huge Mana Void and clean up the rest of them for a fantastic Rampage. At number 4, we have Ti1. Now, I just rewatched a lot of this TI. Absolutely hilarious, and honestly, I feel like I had to put it on this list out of respect, right? It started it all, you know, props to them for that. eHome and Navi, they did their best. But no joke, like, after rewatching the game, they were so bad. Unbelievably bad. Like, honestly, they're the equivalent of like a 2K player. Doom had a butterfly in the late game. My man's bought a butterfly on Doom. A Shaker and Earthshaker didn't level Enchant Totem, just skipped it. It's just 4-0-4. Like, what? Navi in the first game of the grand finals ran a, you know, the classic, your standard, Chen, Tide, and Pudge tri-lane. They really got the shutdown on the Nature's Prophet, and then my man's Nature's Prophet's just like, yeah, I'm gonna TP mid and gank at level 2 with his good old Sprout teleport. Like, he doesn't have treants. And honestly, the best part to Ti1 was the endless attempts of high ground. Like, in the recent Ti9, you saw complete patience from the teams. They would constantly hesitate to go high ground. They would always wait for Roshan and be very diligent about it, right? They'd be extremely careful. But in this TI, Navi ran up the high ground like it was Normandy. I mean, no joke. They just threw bodies at it. Threw Ravage, the Pudge just ran in, threw up some hooks, you know. He had no idea if anyone was there. Constantly just blind hooks. Art styles just trying to make it work. But no, they barely ever hit. And really, it was just hilarious. Honestly, if you haven't watched Ti1, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a great laugh and a bit nostalgic, you know. Obviously, I wasn't watching it through it, but just to see it, I don't know what other word I'd use besides nostalgic. Coming in at number 3 was Ti9. Yes, now I might be like, well, it's fresh. How could you say Ti9? But it really was. It really was a great TI. Honestly, I think it was the most inspirational TI for me because of how creative and good all the teams were, right? Every single team felt like they had a chance to win this thing, which felt much different than the other TIs, right? Not to say that the skill level was absurdly far apart in the other TIs, just in this one, every team felt like they had a chance. And in particular, Infamous stands out to me, where out of nowhere, this SA team of players that, to be frank, no one's really heard of, just dominates, getting a top 8 finish and putting up a fighting chance against Secret. Like, Secret. Do you understand how good they were this whole year? And they had a fighting chance. Hector was a beast, Chris Luck was a beast, and all their teammates were absolute gods. And I feel like just this team in particular makes this a top TI performance. And sorry if you don't have the same attachment to them as I do, but really, like, so fun to watch and great to see for the scene that other teams and other players who aren't known have a chance of competing. It's really a great sign. In addition, we had some of the most innovative drafts of all time, right? It's I guess you would expect it now that the game is developing more and more, but we had things like IO and Invoker support, IO carry Invoker support, like Ricky mid, Slark mid, like all this random stuff that you would expect to see from a Ti1 draft. No hate to Ti1 draft time, just kidding. But I mean, what I really found interesting, and maybe you guys could disagree with me, but all the meta picks of Ti, I honestly didn't see in pubs too much, right? Like, they were here and there, but it was really like ET and SD. I mean, sure, they're powerful, but to be top meta picks, and even Tiny, this tree volley just felt like it came out of nowhere. And really, that's what made this Ti so special to me. It was like absolutely beautiful Dota every single game. Every team was so good, and the drafts were just absolutely amazing. That's my favorite part of Dota, so gotta love it. And lastly, to wrap it up, we had the Liquid comeback. I mean, in my bracket, I think I had them winning 2 games in the lower bracket, but definitely not going this far. I mean, they've proven to us before in TI7 that they could do it, but coming out of this group stage, it looked real sketch. I mean, it didn't seem like they had much of a chance, but there they went. And finally, Spitfire and Void Spirit, very hype. Gotta love Grandma. I mean, she's gonna kill the mid lane, if that's what she is. Coming in at number 2 is the TI that personally inspired me and probably inspired many to really start taking this game serious. I learned so much from this TI, and it's the reason why my most picked hero is Nature's Prophet. It's Ti3 Alliance versus Navi. I think it's one of the best. I'm going to say the second best Grand Final series. Number 1 for me is a little bit better, but so iconic. The $1 Million Dream Coil really will, it never gets old. It's such an amazing clip. I mean, amazing casting. And that game in general, that's maybe the number 1 game of all time for me. All these amazing clips, just great fights, and in general, Bulldog's performance throughout Ti3 was something beautiful. You know, he had a small hero pool, but he really went to show that even with something like a small hero pool, you could absolutely dominate the competition. But yeah, if you haven't watched Ti3 in particular, this is like the Ti to watch. I'm assuming a lot of you guys probably have seen the one I've listed previously and my number 1 pick, but Ti3 is one you have to watch. The best. You have to at least watch the final game of Ti3. It's such a great game. And finally, you have some great plays, like the Cliff of the Alchemist for Sylar. The Coddle just pushes him up. Absolutely fantastic. You have the iconic KYXY Aegis Deny on Wind Ranger. That was pretty funny. And what was interesting about that was it just popped up like, everyone who just witnessed the deny won like some treasure. And then finally, one thing I noticed after rewatching some of the highlights was there's like guides on Coddle that say buy mech, and I never really understood why, because when I was learning Coddle at the time, everyone was buying Ags, but every guide suggested mech. I'm like, where's this mech coming from? And I just figured out it came from here. All the Coddles buy mech. Yuck. And finally, at number 1, the best TI of all time is Ti8. Now, it's a little bit biased for me, I'm not going to lie, before I hop into it. This is the only one I've been to. It was the best experience of my life, like up there for sure, top 3. And it was the OG versus Lgd Finals. I mean, I'm sure you guys all already knew that, but this one in particular, the upper bracket games between OG and Lgd already were beyond amazing. The most hype games I've ever seen. And then the Grand Finals was something else. This Grand Finals was the best Grand Finals. It felt like a long shot. I mean, every single game was a nail biter. Some of the best plays of all time. Right, we had Anna absolutely popping off every single game as his PL, as Spectre, putting on a complete show, drawing out the games. And the final game of that TI, I just didn't get it. They opened with this Nature's Prophet Rubik, and I'm just talking to my friend like, what is this? We hadn't seen these heroes much at all. I mean, teams were banning No Tails Prophet, and that was a big reason why we didn't see it, but Prophet Rubik as a support duo was just not that popular. You were seeing a lot more Shakers and Earth Spirits at the time, were like vengeful, and all of a sudden, they just open with this in the biggest games of their lives. I thought to myself, no chance they win. Then they go with Magnus and Ember and Zeus. I'm like, where is their physical damage? And my mind was just blown. I'm like, no chance they win. They start going down. I think they got up to around like 7k, 8k net worth behind, and they just bring it back with some of the best team play of all time. I mean, I don't know how you keep your composure when you make this unbelievable underdog run and then are playing one of the best teams in the world behind, and they just make amazing plays. They catch out Ami on the Terrorblade, kill him, and then dodges Echo Slams, and they take the throne. That game is forever going to be in my heart, like really. And if you haven't seen that for whatever reason, please watch it, please. And lastly, No Tail Stare Down, that's a great meme. I mean, if you watch TI9, those banners were hilarious. So if you don't know what the No Tail Stare Down is, that's a great moment. I mean, Fly kind of deserved it. If you guys know the story, Fly and S4 kind of like dodged last second and then OG ends up winning the TI. Like, what an underdog story. If you even look at it from that perspective of, they just got abandoned by their friends. It's literally a movie. It's literally a movie. But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this tier list, agreed, disagreed, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, let's talk about it, because TI is incredible. I mean, every single year, or anytime I think about TI, I'm just happy. It's such a great event that I'm so glad we all get to experience. Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, GameLeap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now, to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys. 25%, and start your journey today.